Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a book haul for you all. This book haul has been a long time coming. I haven't done a book haul in ages, so these are from all different sources, all of the books that I've acquired recently. Some of these have been sent to me by publishers, some of them I've bought myself in different vlogs, some of them I bought for specific videos, some were birthday presents for me because I celebrated a birthday last month, and then we have a couple from charity shops as always. So we're just going to jump in and get started because I have two huge piles of books that I need to tell you all about today. But before I get started showing you these books, I want to say a huge thank you to my Patreons. Thank you so much to my patrons. Thank you for everything you do that supports this channel. I absolutely love building this community with all of you. My Patreons are my favorite people on the planet, so if you want to become one of my favorite people in the planet, there's always a link in the description if you want to check out all the different tiers of all the different perks that are available for my Patreon. But now let's jump into the books that I've bought. Firstly, let's go through some of the books that I've actually already read. So starting off, we have a stack here of Abby Jimenez books. I actually very rarely buy romance books because there's something about them that I don't find very easy to reread. I think it's quite rare that I reread romance books, but I was doing a video all about reading just Abby Jimenez books after never trying them before, and I did a vlog all about it, and it was really fun. And then I was basically partway through the first book in the series, and I thought, I just need to buy these basically. I need to have them, and I ended up having so much fun with that vlog, and now I have all three of these books. Another reason I usually don't buy and haul romance books is because I'm not obsessed with the covers. Like, I just don't love these types of covers. Although this one is quite pretty. I like the way that the direction went, but the first two I just think, I don't know, I don't love them that much, even though this one's probably my favourite out of the three. If you want my really in-depth thoughts about the Abby Jimenez books, then you can go and watch that vlog. The next book that I have very recently bought that I've already read is this book called Tokyo Express by Saicho Matsumoto, which I actually bought literally on a whim. I was in a train station, there was a delay for my train and my phone was gonna die, and I thought, oh my god, I have to get through the next hour of my life without my phone. What am I gonna do? So I went to WH Smith and I bought this book kind of completely on a whim because I thought it was short. This is a Japanese crime fiction book and it's kind of a classic. I think originally this was published in the 30s in Japan. I bought this book at the train station and then immediately proceeded to read the entire thing over the next hour. This was a really fun experience actually, and I'll talk about this more in my wrap up, but it kept me company when I was going to be very bored, so for that I'm eternally grateful. I also really like these copies, these modern classic, the ones with the pale blue spines. And speaking of, because it was 2 for, I was like buy one get one half price in that WH Smith, so I ended up getting another of the modern classics, and I got Brideshead Revisited because I have heard about this book so much. I've never read it, and then I recently saw a video of Anne Patchett talking about this book and how much she loved it when she had done a reread recently, and I thought, oh my god, that's one of those books I always hear about and I've never read it. I don't know if I'll love it or not, but I thought while it's buy one get one half price and I was buying this one anyway, and also they sit quite nicely together because of the same editions, so I thought I would just buy this. Have not read this yet, haven't started it, don't know when I will read this unless people in the comments of this video say that this is amazing and that I have to read it very soon. Not sure when I will pick this up, but I'm glad to add it to my collection. I also actually really like this front cover for it. I need to take this buy one get one half price sticker off. But yeah, those two I bought in a random WH Smith on a whim. I probably shouldn't have been spending money on that, but you know what, it's fine. Next up, another book that I have bought and started reading but haven't yet finished, and that is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I actually got this when I was in Paris recently for my birthday, which was very fun. So this is technically a French copy. I just hadn't seen that many paperbacks of it around, and I just love this cover in a paperback, so I thought I would pick it up when I saw it, and I have now started this book, although I actually started it as an audiobook and I got about 3% in, like not very far, before realizing I think I actually want to read this one physically because something about the writing for Sally Rooney, I think that I find it really hard to focus when it's an audiobook. Something about it, like kind of, I found myself just, the words were slipping into my head and slipping away. I wasn't like completely gripped, and while I'm like get confused like early on, you know, with what's actually going on and who is talking, I think it's actually better that I read it physically. I think it'll just help me with getting into this book in the initial phase. So yeah, this is Sally Rooney's most recent book. It is all about two brothers, I think, one who is like more popular and successful, and then it's also about his younger brother who is a chess prodigy. And all I know about the book from reading 3% is that their father has just died. So I don't know anything else about it, and I didn't read enough to get an impression, but yeah, there is that one. Next up, let me show you some publisher book mail that I received recently, because I've been reading the Women's Prize longlist. So I received a few different books from the publishers of the Women's Prize. First up, I have The Artist. So you know I got this already if you watch my vlog, and if you don't watch my vlogs, then what the hell, you should be watching them. They're really amazing. So I have already read this one. This is a historical fiction that has got a kind of very lush feel, and it's got a romantic subplot. This was really kindly sent to me by the publishers John Murray, so thank you very much for that. Like I said, I've already finished this one. I have already read it, so if you want my full thoughts, you can go find that vlog, or you're gonna have to wait until my wrap up at the end of this month for my full thoughts. But I do enjoy building up my Women's Prize collection. And speaking of, I also got this month The Persians. This one I actually bought with my own money. I kind of wish I loved it more than I did. Oh, I actually have the receipt. I don't know why I have the receipt though. I feel like, do you think it's kind of bad to like return books? I think that once you've read them, like returning them, I don't know, like, is that morally wrong? What are our thoughts on returning books? I don't know where I stand with that one. This book, like I said, also longlisted for the Women's Prize, and I've also read this one, so you can go and watch that vlog. It's in the same vlog. This is kind of a dark comedy all about a family, different generations in the same family, who originally lived in Persia in Iran and then fled the country in the late 1970s and moved to America, and it's following different generations in the same family. This has an absolutely stunning cover. I absolutely love it. It's so, so beautiful. Unfortunately, this one actually ended up not quite working for me, but if you want my in-depth thoughts, like I said, go and watch the vlog. Maybe this whole video is just actually me advertising. Watch my vlogs, because then you would know all about my views on all of these books. While we're talking about the Women's Prize, I may as well tell you about the book that I'm currently reading that I also got sent this month, and that is Amma. This has a Women's Prize sticker on it. I'm keeping it on there for now, but it is actually a removable one. This one also has a very, very beautiful cover and spine. This is another multi-generational family story. I'm currently reading this and I'm very close to the end. Basically, as soon as I finish filming this video and editing it, I'm going to go and finish this book. And this is another one that was sent to me by the publisher, so thank you so much, Weatherglass Books. I think this is the only one from the Women's Prize longlist that's actually in a paperback as well, so for that it gets extra points for me. I love a paperback. I'm such a paperback girl. And then the last one that I was sent from a publisher for the Women's Prize was Crooked Seeds by Karen Jennings, and I'm so, so pleased to be sent this one. And the publisher actually also sent another couple of books as well, which is An Island by Karen Jennings and Braids and Migraines. So these are all from the same publisher. This one obviously nominated for the Women's Prize this year, so I'll be reading this very, very soon. This one sounds really interesting. It's basically all about a woman who has been kicked out of her family home. So this is set in Cape Town in South Africa, and I think it's set in kind of the aftermath of the apartheid, and you're following a woman who has she's had her house requisitioned by the government, and then one day they come and pick her up and say that they found bodies in the garden of this house, and then she is being questioned about her brother who was involved in some way. I'm really excited to read this one. Also, it'd be really good for the Reading Around the World challenge, because obviously it's set in Cape Town and this is a South African author as well. And something that I did not realize at the time when I received these books, but I actually have read An Island by Karen Jennings. I completely had forgotten, which is so weird because I never forget books that I've read, but I think I read this on my Kindle about 4 years ago when it was actually nominated from the Booker Prize, and just did not realize that I'd read it, even though I do remember this plot of this book. When I read the back, I realized, oh my god, I actually have read this book. So that makes me even more excited for Crooked Seeds, because An Island is all about this man called Samuel, and he is on this tiny island. He's the only one that lives there. He looks after this lighthouse. He basically lives all alone, and then one day someone washes up on the beach of the island, and it is a very haunting, very kind of scary, unsettling book, and I really enjoyed it when I read it, and it's like quite a short and powerful book, so that has made me even more excited for Crooked Seed. And thank you so much to the publisher for sending me these books as well, because I did not have a physical copy of An Island, and I'm really happy that I do have it now and that I've remembered that I've read it. But I won't actually count this for my Reading Around the World challenge, because it's set on an kind of a fictional island, whereas I want to read books that are set within the country. I do feel like Crooked Seeds is actually perfect because it's set in in Cape Town. And then the other book that I was also sent by the same publisher is called Braids and Migraines, which I don't know actually much about, but also another South African author set in South Africa. This is about a girl who is struggling with visions, but she gets this quite prestigious scholarship to go to this school and then thinks that her life is going to turn around, and then instead her life falls apart. I'm really excited to read this one and very grateful that the publisher thought to send me this one as well, along with the other books for the Women's Prize. And then lastly, for my Women's Prize section that I want to talk about, I ended up buying another book recently. Even though it's a hardback, it's just such a beautiful cover and I had to. It has been longlisted, so I will be reading it soon, and that is A Little Trickery by Rosanna Pike. This is a gorgeous cover as well with some gold foiling. Even though it's a hardback, it was expensive to buy. I should have maybe just tried to get the publisher to send it to me, but sometimes they don't reply to my emails and sometimes I have to spend my own money. So all I know about this book is that it is a historical fiction, and I think it's set in Tudor England. It's described as funny and darkly witty. I think it's about a young woman who is basically a vagabond and like roaming around and trying to survive. So I am really looking forward to reading this one actually, even though I'm a bit hit and miss with historical fiction. I just had to get this one. So I'll be reading this very soon, and that's the last of it for the Women's Prize books that I've recently acquired. Next up, we have a couple of random books that I've just bought myself. Well, actually next up I'll talk about this book because it's the book club book for this month, and that is In the Shadow of the Banyan. I keep getting this wrong. I keep saying like the shadow of the banyan tree, but it's not. It's In the Shadow of the Banyan. So this book is set in Cambodia from a Cambodian author. That is the country that we're doing currently for the book club this month. If you're interested in having behind the scenes and voting on which country and which book that we're going to be doing for the book club, then that is all part of my Patreon. But this book I actually have not started yet. And yes, I know it's like the 21st of March. I'm really pushing it this time. But my book didn't arrive for ages, and also it arrived in absolutely terrible condition. This was sold to me as a good as new book and it's just absolutely awful. And it cost me like £11 as well. I was actually so annoyed when this arrived, and I have complained because it's not in good nick, but you know, it's fine. I think it's, I don't actually mind used books, but I like with them when they're like £2, but not like 11. Anyway, this book I think is going to be really devastating. So far, everyone who has read it for the book club has said that it's really, really good. I think everyone's given it quite a high rating, but I'm actually, the reason I've put off reading this, other than that the book arrived really late, is that I think it's just going to be devastating. This is, I think, from the perspective of a child as they are encountering the absolute horrors of what was happening in Cambodia. I'm a little scared to read it because I'm a bit wimpy when it comes to really, really sad books, but I'm gonna steel myself because I think it's gonna be an absolutely amazing read. But if you're looking for an emotional book, and also if you want to join our book club, then maybe check this book out. So that is In the Shadow of the Banyan. Next up, we have a couple of books from one of my favorite authors of all time, and that is Ursula K. I've bought 2 books from Ursula K. recently. The first is Ursula K. Le Guin, Space Crone, and this is actually a collection of her writing all about her activism on feminism and politics. It says it offers new insights into her imaginative multi-feminist consciousness, from its roots in deep ecology and philosophies of non-violence to her self-education about racism and her writing on motherhood and aging. I cannot imagine a book that I want to read more. I can't believe I haven't actually read this yet. I think I'm kind of scared because this just sounds so perfect for me. Not only is it my favorite author, but it's talking about things that I'm so deeply interested in. I'm so excited to kind of get more of an idea about her non-fiction writing as well, and her ideas and where they come from. I just think this will be an absolutely incredible read and I cannot wait to read it. I also love the beautiful simplicity of the way that this book is looks. It's just so gorgeous. So I cannot wait to read that one. And then there's also this one, which is Steering the Craft, which is all about how to write, basically, steering the craft. It is all about how she writes, and I think it's different essays, basically, but there also is included exercises that you can do as a writer. I've actually never read a book all about writing, even though I am writing my own book, and I feel like if there's a place to start, it's with my favourite author, because I will definitely take everything she has to say on this as gospel and just absolutely eat this whole thing up. So Two books I'm so excited to read. Can't believe I haven't read them yet, actually. I've just been so distracted with the Women's Prize longlist, but absolutely can't wait to get to these. So those are a couple of non-fiction books. Next up, a book that I've heard so much about that I think is going to be really beautiful, and that is Crooked Plough. I've actually kind of messed up the front of this book. That's kind of annoying, but another very beautiful cover. Me and my friend Alice are going to read this together, I think. I think this is another one that is going to be maybe quite sad. This is a Brazilian book, and it is about two sisters who find a knife under their grandmother's bed, and that kicks off like an act of violence that kind of shakes their whole community. But it's set in like one of the poorest communities in Brazil in the wake of the abolition of slavery. This one has just got amazing reviews, and everyone that's read it really loved it, and it was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize last year, and I absolutely love the International Booker Prize. I've already been reading a couple from the shortlist this year, and I really like them so far. I feel like this will be so powerful, so I'm really excited to read this one. Next up, we have a classic and an author that I've never read from before, at least I don't think I have, and that is Simone de Beauvoir. I bought this when I was in Paris because I wanted to buy something from a French author, and I couldn't help myself because this is such a cute little paperback book. All I know about this book is that it is about two girls and their kind of mixed up girlhood, adolescence together. They are the inseparables. I think this actually was not published when Simone de Beauvoir was alive, but it's kind of got biographical elements about it, about her own life and friendships that really affected her. I'm really excited to read it. It's only about 100 pages long, so not long at all. I think it'll be very beautiful. So that's another book that I've bought recently. Next up, we have a couple that I've got for my birthday from my friend Alice, friend of the channel Alice, who has bought me two beautiful books. And the first is Sarah Waters, my first book that I actually own by Sarah Waters. I've been looking at these copies for so long, and she knows that exactly. They are so beautiful. So this is Tipping the Velvet. This is like new editions of these books, and I look at them every time I'm in a bookshop and I love it. This is a historical romance, and I have been assured that it is racy and spicy as well, because that is the way that I like my historical romances. That's something I've realised. I need historical romances to have a very erotic undertone. That's something that I've realised. And I think this is not only just a saucy historical romance, but it's also gay. I think it's a lesbian romance, so that's even better. Oh my god, and it has a map at the front. What? That's so exciting. I love this. So I'm excited to read this one. It is quite a chunky one. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this. So that is Tipping the Velvet. And then the other one that Alice got me is a Virginia Woolf, which is Between the Acts. We both love Virginia Woolf, and I've somehow still not read this one. I think Alice has given me this one because I think she preferred it even than Mrs. Dalloway, which is my current favourite Virginia Woolf. I actually don't really know what it's about. I'm just seeing that this is actually her last book that she ever published. I'm excited to see what I think of this next Virginia Woolf. Another absolutely gorgeous cover with this beautiful painting on the front, and it fits in with my other Virginia Woolf because it's this Oxford World Classics, these ones with these kind of spines. So thank you so much, Alice, for my birthday presents. Finally, the last book I want to talk about is another book that I got in Paris that I thought I was going to read immediately and somehow still haven't. I'm getting too caught up with the Women's Prize because I need to read this book because now it's fully out everywhere, and that is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is the third book in the series of Emily Wilde's, what are they even called? Emily Wilde books. These are really sweet, cozy, adventurous fantasy stories, and I absolutely love Emily Wilde, and I love the romance that's contained in these. She's one of my favourite kind of protagonists lately, especially in this era of like a cozy romantic fantasy. I think no one else does it like Emily Wilde. I also this is my favourite cover so far. The pink and the green is just exquisite. I actually don't know what this one's about or where we're starting off, and I'm not going to read the blurb because I don't want to know. I want to go in and sink into this story like I have been with all of the others. But basically in this series you're following Emily Wilde, who is a scholar of fairies, and she is setting about trying to put down a definitive account of all of the fairy folk in the world. They're set out in diary form, and you're following Emily on her adventures and her misadventures as she goes around trying to complete her scholarship. They're very funny, they're very cute, they're very witty, they're very cozy, they're full of nature, they're full of scholarship. I love the way they're written and cannot wait to read this one. Can't can't believe I haven't read it yet. So that is actually the final book that I want to talk about. They are all of the books that I have acquired into my life recently. It feels like actually a massive pile now. I'm sitting surrounded by all of these books. But please tell me which one I should start with. Tell me which books I need to be reading first, because I have no idea where to start. But thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like this video and subscribe because it really helps me out. If you are interested in joining the Patreon, then check out the link in the description, because there's so many different tiers, so many different perks, so many extra content that you can get just on the Patreon. And there's a new video going up, just Patreon exclusive, this Sunday. That is actually a book shopping vlog. So if you like seeing me buying books and hauling books, then maybe sign up to the Patreon to be able to see that. That is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!